So yes, but that's what that's one of the big reasons why I asked if you looked into it.
No, but it's Echo chip, right?
Yeah, Echo Plus,
Echo
a chip.
Plus. Okay, Echo
Yeah,
Plus.
and it goes in the OBD2 port,
Yep, yep, yep.
and well, what I'm thinking is probably nothing more than a fancy dust cover.
And it probably, well, what it probably does, it probably changes some of the, like, for instance, if you have, like, my particular vehicle has AFM, active fuel management system, but a lot of people don't like the active fuel system. For whatever reason, I don't really understand why. And they make a thing that goes in the OBD2 connector, and it keeps the vehicle from going into mode two. When it goes from 8 cylinders to 4 cylinders, and
Right.
and people don't like it, so they put this device in there, and it just eliminates that part of the computer system. As soon as you unplug it, then everything goes back to normal. So there's
Well,
probably
yeah.
some kind of a program inside this thing that changes some parameters. It may change the way the transmission shifts. It may change the timing. It may change different values that maybe makes it run a little bit more efficient. And then you may lose something like on the back end. You're going to gain a little bit on the front end, but they're going to take it away from the back end
Right.
and stuff like that. So one of the
Well,
things that
that was the big thing on this Echo Plus is it was supposed to increase your gas mileage.
yep, and so it may make it run a little bit leaner, maybe not use as much fuel, maybe send some different information to a certain sensor that you know, and that's usually what we see in these things is like they'll it's it, they lie. They'll actually lie to the computer and say you're doing this, and actually it's doing something else. But the computer
Well,
thinks it's doing this.
I do know that you can like tune up a car electronically with your computer, and that's something that really astounds me at at your business there. And you did work on my car once with the computer, the Vibe, and I also believe my Sable. But it's amazing what can be done today electronically. So that's why the only reason why I brought it up to begin with. This was avatar. I saw it on an ad for I think either TV or. But it was a one-time fare. A lot of this stuff shows up once and you never see it again. So
Yeah.
anyway, that's why I called.
Thanks for the call, Sonny. Yeah, and in this time, in this day and age right now where gas prices are up and everything, you're going to see a lot of products hit the market that all claim that they're going to help you. And what is it, 95% of them snake oil salesmen?
It's funny because in '08, when all this kind of happened with the economy and gas prices started going, went up to $4 a gallon, my phone was on fire. It was ringing
Right.
off the hook. It's not so much this go around. People are not. I mean, I genuinely got people concerned about gas prices and what can we do? How can I get better gas mileage? What can I do? And I'm not getting those calls this time. It's almost like
I think people are resigned to the fact that there's nothing we can do. It's just going to be. It's kind of like I remember when we went to over $2 a gallon. It was the 1998, 1999, and when we got over $2 a gallon, the consensus was, it ain't never going below $2. We'll never see it below $2 again. Now we did for a brief time period in 2017, 2018. But it's been above $2 ever since 1998. And I think I think now, I've talked to a lot of people that go, I don't think we'll ever see it below $3 again. I think that we're just, 2008, we were like, is there something we can do? 2021, we're like, they're going to get us. There's nothing we can do about it.
And it's like,
that's why AAA says even though with gas prices at record highs, travel for 4th of July, they're expecting it to be record highs for travel at 4th of July.
Yeah.
Even though gas is expensive, people are like, part of doing business. But I don't know how, because Susan and I, our gas bill is increased by $400 a month. We don't have an extra $400 just laying around.
Well, I mean, I live in the city limits, right? I live in the city limits. My business is in the city limits. And starting June 1st, my electric bill has gone up 30%.
Yep.
And in my house and in my business.
Yep.
Okay? Gas is ultimate.
They say it's fuel cost is what's caused it.
They had it planned before the fuel thing was even
But that's what
going
they
up.
say, it's fuel cost.
That's bull.
Oh, and by the way, I live in the county, but my business is in the city. We pay city electric. It went up 35%.
30%.
But where we live in the county, guess who our electric provider is?
City?
The city. So we understand your pain. We've seen an increase at the house and at the office.
Yeah. So, I mean, and food?
Don't even get started. I check because I'm a receipt keeper, not because I'm smart about it. I just put it in my pocket, and then I clean my pocket out and set it on a nightstand, and so there's receipts for months. We went to Aldi last Saturday or last Sunday. We grocery shopped on the weekend. We spent $120 at Aldi, and I checked the receipt from there against the receipt from 2 months ago. Pretty much, there was like 4 different things we didn't buy this time we bought last time, so I took those out. At Aldi, which is supposed to be a discount, grocery store and everything, it's supposed to be better, price-wise. The grocery bill's gone up $38.
$38.
Yeah, for the same stuff, it's now $38 more.
Yep.
So, Publix, don't even get me started. I went, you know what boiled ham is, right?
Yeah.
It's boiled ham. It's the sandwich meat ham.
Yeah.
It's like Publix brand's like $6.99. No, $9.89
Per pound.
per pound.
See?
Roast beef that used to be $9.89 per pound, $13.99 a pound.
See?
I'm like, it looks like beans and rice.
So and I'm not sitting here moaning and complaining, but now my guys are like, but can we sit down and talk kind of thing, It's
Yeah.
like, hey, do you know it's costing us so much more to live, and
Yeah.
so now it's like they want more money to offset the cost of the prices are going up on everything. So then you got to sit down and then you have to calculate, okay, well, if everything else is going up, I got to go up because I got to give them more money because it's costing them more money to live.
Well, and you deal in a petroleum-based business.
Yeah. Yes, I do.
It ain't just wages that are going up for you.
Man, a price of oil that we put in people's cars, and it's gone up, I think, 5 times, and I think it was 4 times, and I think you might even talked about this it went up again.
Well, I saw a thing, they were doing it, on the morning news show in Orlando, and one guy called in to complain that his little 10-minute oil change place, and they went in, he did a little with his phone and everything and gave it to the news. There's one oil place that's over off Colonial in Orlando that when you look where the prices were, it now says market price down for each like you'd see for lobster.
Yeah.
The oil change is now a market price.
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
We're not kidding, folks. It's
No,
rough.
It's crazy.
Yeah. Good morning. You're on with Matt Gibbs from Sunrise Auto.
Hello, guys. Good conversation.
Hey, you.
Say with the price of food, this is a good time to go on an oatmeal diet and lose around 50, 60 pounds.
Oatmeal stick to your ribs.
I was just thinking out what Tom's got problems with his car, and let's say he decides to buy a new car and he trades the Cadillac in. Now the dealership, are they going to get that car back to 100%? And if they do, they're going to have to ask a pretty good price for it. Would it be worth doing that, you think, for the dealership?
Well, I mean, we'd have to look at and say, okay, is he thinking about buying a new car? Would this be at a new car dealership, or would it be at a used car dealership? So I think.
Well, yeah. Well, I'm talking like a new, going for trading in on a new car. You know, naturally they're going to take his Cadillac, but what are they going to do with it? Are they going to get it back to 100%? But then they're going to have to. It's going to be kind of an expensive used car, in it,
Yeah,
right?
no, that car would end up that car would more likely end up being at a Odessa auto auction if he bought it. If he did this in Ocala, it'd probably end up at the auction.
Yeah. Yeah, because I mean the dealership can fix it at cost. You know, I mean it wouldn't be
No,
that,
no,
that
they- but
expensive for them, but
They can't fix it at cost because they don't operate that way. So even though they bought it's their car but if they send it to their service department, there's an internal rate. Because in a dealership, each department has to vouch for itself, has to make its own profits, its own wage. So and this sounds crazy, but so like in a new car dealership, if you take a car in trade, and then, okay, so now that car is going to be going through the service department. Well, the service department is going to charge the sales department an X amount of, and that money gets transferred from their account, the internal account, from sales to service, and it goes on to their bottom line and their profit center. And so that's one of the things that I never quite understood in the dealership is that you got the sales department warring against the service department, warring against the body shop, warring against the parts department. So you got this whole company, and nobody likes each other, nobody works with each other, everybody's fending for themselves. It's kind of crazy.
oh my God.
Thanks for the call, Hugh.
Yeah, sure. Okay, thank you guys, and eat oatmeal.
Yeah. You know, Hugh brings up a good question, though. What happens, because you were in the car business, you were for a while.
Yeah, still am.
You're right, but you were in the car sales business for a while.
Yep.
When a car goes, like my Cadillac, which is, you know, got some issues, goes to auction. Now, when it gets bought at auction, it's probably going to go to a buy here, pay here lot.
Right.
That's probably who's going to buy it from auction.
Yep.
But are they going to sell it with the check engine light on and stuff like that?
It depends on which buy here, pay here lot is going to buy it. But there's quite a bit of them. There's quite a few buy here, pay here lots that are just going to, they would buy that car, detail it, wash it, and put it out there on their lot. I see it all the time.
As is.
As is. If it breaks in half after you buy it, you drag both halves home. Because
Right.
you own them both.
You ain't leaving them there.
Right.
But and that happens a lot.
That happens a lot. A lot.
That's why you need to do research on where you're buying a car from.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Where you're buying it from, what is it, and the car itself. You know, we have a lot of folks that, hey, Matt, I'm over here at such and such, and I'm looking at a car. Even if it's a car lot that we do a lot of business with, I always tell my customers, do not, because I put my hand on that car, do not buy that car because I touched it.
Right.
Bring that car over to me. And I'll tell the dealer, if I don't give that car the stamp of approval, well, we're going to find something else that does.
I have a good friend of mine who I played a lot of golf with. He's a proud Irishman. I won't say his last name on the radio, but his first name's Mike, and he's a auto mechanic. You probably know him. And when I told him, I used to call him exclusively because he was my mechanic for a very long time. And I would call him and say, hey, I'm looking at this car. And he would tell me point blank, well, that's a good car. Bring it over to me and let me look at it. Or he'd say, no, here's the problem with those cars. Detroit didn't do some, and I'm going to say this, and people, if you got one and it runs good for you, fine. But he told me horror stories about the Chrysler Sebring.
Oh, boy.
Or see, look how you just reacted.
Yeah.
Oh, boy. You know what else he told me horror stories about? Cadillac SRXs.
Oh, boy.
Although that SRX of mine is actually, but it was, Chris Spears found it. He found it from a single owner, and it only had, very little miles on it when Chris found it, because he was looking for specifically to make sure it was a good vehicle.
Yeah.
So, and look, I put over 120,000 miles on it. So it's in 5 years, I've drove the hell out of it.
Right.
So, but, and I do the maintenance on it and everything, but you never, just because, and I trust Chris. Chris is a good friend of mine, but just because Chris said it was a good vehicle, I still took it and got it looked at.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I still do. Yeah. It was, Buddy Martin had owned it. I actually bought it from Buddy Martin.
Right.
Chris had found it for Buddy. But I took it, still had it, Buddy's my mentor. I know Chris real well. I still took it somewhere and had them
You
look
know,
at it.
if I was going to buy, my wife drives a Cadillac. She drives an Escalade. But if I own a Cadillac and I owned a SRX, my wife drove that before the Escalade. If I'm going to buy a Cadillac, it's going to be a crossover or like a sport utility vehicle.
Right.
And the reason is because your car is actually
A GMC.
it's a Chevy Equinox.
Yeah, same
it's
car.
It's same car, just added
A
some
little
extra.
different body style
No, it's the same exact body style.
Oh, it is the same,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's just different lights.
and emblems.
And right, and badges, and there's a little bit different in electronic stuff, but for the most part, it's going to be made by Chevrolet, which Chevrolet doesn't make a truck anymore. It's all made by GMC. Same thing with the Escalade. It's basically a Yukon,
Right.
and it's badged with Cadillac. Now, when it comes to Cadillac cars, that's a different thing.
Well, like this, the Cadillac. I remember the Cadillac Cimarron was a Chevrolet Cavalier with Cadillac emblems, but it was made by Toyota.
Yeah, it was a piece of junk.
It was a junk. It was junk.
There was a few Cadillacs Cadillac, you know, one thing about Cadillac I will say, when they screwed up, they quit doing it. They might even do it
Right away.
Right away. They don't mess
Like,
around.
what was that two-seater sports
Oh,
car
that
they made?
Alante.
The Alante. That was the biggest piece of garbage.
Dude, if an Alante pulled into service drive, it was like crickets because everybody disappeared.
Yeah, nobody wanted that car.
Nobody wanted to do that.
It's kind of like smart cars.
Nobody. Nobody wants
We
to do
literally, and my wife loves her smart car, and it's a very good gas mileage car. We literally had one garage about a year and a half ago goes, take that somewhere else. We don't want to work on it here.
And they don't. And you don't want them to work on it if they don't want to work
Right,
on it.
but that was nice. That was very good customer service. Somebody goes, well, that's not very good customer service.
Yeah, it is.
On the contrary, that's perfect customer
Yeah, it
service.
is.
My dad would tell people they'd bring Corvettes in the 70s. And my dad didn't want to mess with anything that was fiberglass because you bump it with a wrench and you crack that fiber. People bring Corvettes in. My dad said, nope, I'm not working. He would refuse to work on Corvettes because he didn't want to be liable for any damage that could happen to that fiberglass body or anything once they started putting them in, making them in fiberglass. He was like, nope, don't want anything to do with a Corvette. And people, my dad, Smitty, was thought of as one of the best mechanics in Jacksonville, but he wouldn't work on Corvettes. I would tell you right away, nope, not going to do it.
Well,
Take that somewhere else.
we work on Corvettes, but we charge truck rate for a Corvette
Because it's a pain in the...
because they're a pain in the daggum behind.
It is. Hey, Matt, if people want to come and talk to you, find out what's going on, find out that they're going to owe you their first unborn child.
I don't want no children, bro. No children.
Oh, no, you're getting one.
No children.
If I have to get one from Angelina Jolie, I'm bringing it to you. Where can they find you?
You can find me at 1800 Northwest 10th Street. That's right there on Highway 27 by Howard Middle School across the street. Or you can reach me at 352-690-1993.
So should I stop by after the show?
Yeah, you can if you want. You swing by. We'll give you an update.
Yeah. And I noticed you gave me a nice loaner truck.
Yeah.
It's very nice. On E, I noticed that.
Oh, is it? I didn't even check it, man. I did not.
No.
No, put some gas in it and bring me the receipt. I'll reimburse you.
I have a feeling this was Joey's truck at one time.
No, we put the hand controls in it so that Joey has.
Oh, okay.
If his car breaks down, he's without wheels.
Well, there you go. So now he's not.
He's always,
he is now because I haven't.
Yeah, but his car is running okay right now.
Well, there you go. Matt, thanks for coming in, buddy.
Yes, sir.
Talk to you next week.
Yes, sir.
We'll be right back after this timeout to learn about communication during hurricanes right here on WOCA, The Source.
USA Radio News with Lance Pry.
The Taliban released 5 British citizens after 6 months of captivity for activities that